Hello, my name is Catherine Parrish, and today I will be presenting as an adoptive mother entitled to maternity leave. Contracts are a useful and crucial part in the United States workforce. They are enforceable. They outline employees' rights and responsibilities, including their right to grievance procedures as well as benefits and compensation. They also outline employees' responsibilities within their job. My position in the case is first as legal counsel for Bainbridge Borough, secondly as legal counsel for the union AFSCME Local 10, and finally I am to be an arbitrator to assist in settling the situation in a way that is agreeable to all parties. Carol Fern was employed as a tax clerk for the Bainbridge Borough. Unable to have children, Carol decided to adopt a 3-month-old baby. Carol considerately held off on the adoption until after their busy tax season, and she asked for 2 weeks paid vacation. At the end of her 2 weeks, Carol asked for unpaid maternity leave amounting to 6 months. Bainbridge Borough voted no to Carol's request. Instead of unpaid maternity leave, Carol was allowed 2 successive 90-day reasonable purpose leaves. June 1st, a grievance was filed according to Article X, Section 4 and 5. The union called for relief or remedy in getting the just and deserved leave that was first requested. I should also at this time define reasonable purpose leave versus maternity leaves. Maternity leaves were not to exceed 6 months and were to be granted at the request of the employee. Reasonable purpose leaves were not to exceed 90 days and shall be granted for any reasonable purpose. As an attorney for the local AFSCME Local 10, develop an argument to support my client's contention that the council's rejection of Carol Fern's unpaid maternity leave request violated the collective bargaining agreement. Carol Fern is a new mother and deserves maternity leave as outlined in her contract with her employer. Article X, Section 5A describes maternity leave as not to exceed 6 months shall be granted at the request of the employee. Maternity leaves shall, upon the request of the employee, be extended and renewed for a period of time not to exceed 6 months. Bainbridge Borough violated this by not following the outlined contract as stated, instead allowing her 2 reasonable purpose leaves. Carol Fern did everything that she was required to do by her employer, including more. She was considerate enough not to leave Bainbridge Borough during the middle of their busy tax season. However, she was not given the unpaid maternity leave that was due to her. Having a proper grievance procedure is crucial when working in an organization. If procedure is not followed correctly and an outcome is not favorable, an employee may feel it as a personal injustice. Arbitration would be a good choice to make right now. Develop a case to support the council's rejection of Carol Fern's request for unpaid maternity leave. Employees must obey work rules, follow supervisor orders, fulfill job standards, abide by the contract, not striking over grievances, and Carol Fern was given 2 reasonable purpose leaves amounting to the same amount of time as a maternity leave. Employees have rights and obligations when they join the workforce, and contracts are legally enforceable in the United States. Carol Fern possibly dealt with workplace incivility since she had a baby and it perhaps became an organizational inconvenience. Perhaps supervisors in Bainbridge Borough did not allow Carol Fern maternity leave because they struggled with workplace incivility with Fern adopting a child. Carol Fern as an employee has the right to have just cause, discipline and discharge, seniority rights, compensation, fair hearing through grievance procedures. Due process should be available to all employees in an organization, and an employee should remember and understand that due process is a right, not a privilege. Using an arbitration system can be helpful as it is a quick process. Arbitration is not as time-consuming, costly, or unpredictable as other procedures. As an arbitrator, how would I rule and why? Personally, I would allow Carol Fern to have her unpaid maternity leave instead of a reasonable purpose leave. Carol is a mother and deserves unpaid maternity leave due to the fact that she will be caring for an infant. It is important for Carol Fern to be able to have a good work-life balance so that she can fulfill and exceed her job duties, but also be able to be a good mother to her child. Unfortunately, even the Family and Medical Leave Act is unhelpful in this instance. The FMLA has limited applicability since it only allows 12 weeks of maternity leave to a parent only when the employer has 50 or more employees. Throughout time, the United States seems to have failed working parents and not encouraged mothers to take unpaid maternity leaves. Throughout this, Carol Fern did not being allowed to take an unpaid maternity leave seems to be another disservice to women in the workforce. Arbitration is a useful tool to use when solving workplace differences. Benefits of arbitration include fairness, consistency, proper handling of cases, and arbitrators are usually a neutral third party that can help settle a dispute, and their findings are usually binding. My plan of action includes meeting with Carol Fern individually to find her side of the situation, meeting with the Bainbridge Council individually to learn all sides and facts from the situation and understand why they might not have allowed unpaid maternity leave, review the Family and Medical Leave Act and Carol Fern's contract, meet with the union, Carol Fern, and management and the Bainbridge Borough Council to look over the contract, resolve the dispute, and understand the application and enforcement of the contract. I would also, under Carol's contract in Article X, Leaves of Absences, Section 5A, I would tell her that she is entitled to maternity leave at her request for 6 months. I would give her her unpaid maternity leave and add 2 weeks of paid vacation to use at her leisure. I would make sure also that this is agreeable to all sides. In conclusion, it was unfair of Bainbridge Borough to refuse Carol Fern her unpaid maternity leave, but they instead tried to remedy it with 2 reasonable purpose leaves amounting to 6 months. Carol Fern deserved her unpaid maternity leave as outlined in her contract, and it was unfair. Arbitration can certainly help an employee, union, and management hopefully reach a fair, agreeable, just decision between all parties. According to her contract, Carol Fern was supposed to receive maternity leave at her request. Unfortunately, Bainbridge Borough failed to do what was right in this instance, instead giving her 2 reasonable purpose leaves. To remedy, Bainbridge Borough should allow Carol Fern her unpaid maternity leave as well as add 2 weeks of paid vacation. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you all have a great day.